Hey guys, this is OddOneGaming. This is going to be another Dragonheir Selling Gods video. In today's video, we're going to be going over the new Temporal Vortex, Dahwan's Realm, and we're going to kind of have a first look, but then at the same time, I'm going to show you one of the best, if not, the best team of the early season of Season 3, and it's going to be a really fun one, so let's get into this one. Now, before I jump into the video, I do want to mention, as always, that if you want to support me as a content creator, you can use code OddOne that you see over there at the top. Pretty much the way that one works is if you do decide to support, I get like 2% out of what you spend on. Also, the way to do that is you would open a page and then use the link that I've put in the description in case the one in-game does not work. It's going to take you to this page. You're going to put here, for example, code OddOne, make sure it's capital O for both of them, right? And then you're gonna go and link invitation code, select, login, choose your account, and once you do all of that, you should be getting yourself these rewards instantly. And then after that, as you do level up, level 20, 50, and then 100, you're gonna get yourself War Marrow Gold and a Healer Light dice. So thank you for doing that, cost you nothing, helped me a ton. But let's jump into this new boss. So I personally extremely love the fact that we have a new Temporal Vortex. We have a new, kind of like, I guess let's call this a guild boss, alliance boss, whatever, because it's a little bit of a different one. And I love that it's completely different than Malinus, right? So that's just me. So this one kind of has like 3 phases. And then it says like, I'm not going to go through everything, I guess, because you can read everything that happens yourself, right? Some people like it, some people don't when I go through everything, but pretty much there's 3 phases. Merciful phase, Scorching phase, and Wrathful phase. Then he kind of like swaps. This is really important to keep in mind. Depending how much mist he has, if he has over 140, he goes into Scorching phase. Under 60, goes into Wrathful phase. Otherwise, goes into the Merciful one. But it's never going to stick into one single one. It keeps swapping, right? So let's say he's in the Merciful one as he starts. Then if you have under 60 mist, he's going to go in the Wrathful one. If you have over 140, he's going to go in the Scorching phase. Now, depending on what you want to face and what team you have, what buffs, whatever, this is how you can kind of like control and decide what you actually do. So, for example, Merciful phase only pretty much just heals you. But once he hits every time he does the ultimate, he gets Wax and Wane, 5%, increases damage. But once he gets to these stacks to be at 150, I think someone over here says, let's see, okay, it reaches 100, all the healing will be converted into damage. That's going to ignore immortality, invisibility, and Brock's Resurrection, which means, pretty much you can now go with a full unkillable team. But then if we look at the next phases, we have the Scorching phase, which pretty much does area damage, puts defense penalty, and then does AoE damage, right? All enemies 5 times, ignores all of that, right? When he's done, he sets the mist and then just keeps triggering that change. So this one is, honestly, I did not went and like min-max and test stuff. I just went with my team that I had. I looked at what it does and I chose to, see which one I fight. It might have been a mistake because this one might put defense penalty, but it might do less damage, right? Again, I've not tested. I'm just going to show you the team that I did the initial run. I'm going to do more testing, tweaking, show you what I believe to be the best ones as we progress through the season, test out more things. But this is the one that does, like I said, AoE defense penalty, and the one that I personally choose to face, at the moment at least, is the Wrathful phase, because this one does damage in a straight line in the front line, which with this team it's only 1 person, right? Only 1 melee unit, and then it hits the ally with the highest HP, with highest max HP, and inflicts defense penalty. So it's single target defense penalty only that you have to deal with, not AoE, but it does the same thing twice. And then obviously at the end, again, does damage, ignores all of that quirky stuff. But one important thing to keep in mind is how can you actually influence that? Well, as you see over here at the bottom right, the switch one, right? So it says accumulate mist and dispel mist. You have the one at the top where they just swap between them. One says gaining a shield / healing accumulates 1 stack of mist. Dealing damage removes 1 stack of mist. So most of the time, at least for me, trying to get as lower the mist as possible, I'm going to put the dealing damage side of things on the dispel mist, because you know what, Ice Blast do 1,000,000 hits, right? So you're going to be stacking up to the max if you if you choose to do so to face the other one, right? To face that, I think is the Wrathful one. And then if you look at the bottom side, it says inflicting a debuff accumulates 2 stacks of mist, and then gaining a buff removes 2 stacks. So again, whichever this is just looking at your team, seeing how many buffs, how many debuffs you have, how much damage you do, how much shielding you do. And this is the way that you can try and influence it on how the boss is going to rotate. Now, I personally don't believe, or I have not seen it yet, but I think it always swaps. I don't think you can keep it in a merciful phase always, but still, it's the way that I have it. Like I said, is put the shielding to accumulate and the damage to remove, because I want to face that one. And the team that I'm actually using is gonna be, you know, one of the, so pretty much the best team at the beginning of the season right now is gonna be the Ice Blast team, honestly, unless you have some maybe extremely OP other types of heroes and kits, but the one I've seen is Ice Blast is doing the best. So the team that I chose to go with at the moment was is this one, but again, there's still lots that I want to test. Depends on what gear you get and whatnot, because obviously everything can change if you have different pieces of gear. So for example, I'm using the 3 Ice Blast people, Zorak, Sheena, and Beldel, with Oggok and with Reytah. The cool thing is they are all of the same element, therefore, like, you know, elemental synergy, so they all get the benefits of your elemental affinity. Also, one of the best things, and the thing that I love about this, is that pretty much this season poison and ice are kind of like a pairing, which means Ice Blast is gonna be amazing, which means Rook obviously is gonna be the number one to focus on, so it kind of makes sense to just heavily invest in poison and ice. So when it comes to the supports, honestly, if I had a set of Puppeteer ready, I would drop Reytah, I think, for what's her name, for Felocia, because I would give Felocia the Puppeteer set, which means every time she does the ultimate, all of the ice people in the team will get their ultimate energy boosted, which means they can go on an 18-second rotation instead of 20. That would mean that you would do a ton more damage, but because I don't have 3 pieces, even if they would be garbage, honestly, at the beginning, if you want to do that, Puppeteer is going to be amazing, and obviously, even as you progress, Puppeteer is going to be insane. It's just, you know, depends how you're doing with gear. Do you have good enough gear and whatnot? So right now, because I don't have a Puppeteer set, I chose to go with Reytah. The reason why I like Reytah is because she dispels debuffs. She puts attack penalty. She has a quirky, you see those different type of sword type thing debuffs. With those ones, what she does is she inflicts damage mitigation. So she puts straight up a 10% from her base passive, but then she can get an extra, I think it's 18% for every different type of a debuff that you have. So attack penalty, damage mitigation, dispel debuffs, increased defense, she brings everything, right? She brings just about everything that you need for a specific fight. And I personally believe towards the end, obviously not everybody has Reytah, but towards the end, when we start pushing the Rook teams that are going to be, you know, the best ones, I personally believe that Reytah is going to be in all of those teams, right? So if you have a chance to get her, I would suggest trying to grab a Reytah. Might be wrong, but I still believe she's amazing. So that's pretty much the team. And then obviously the good old Oggok, which is, you know what, if you got in Season 3 and you don't have yourself an Oggok yet, you should just try and search for a banner and pull for him, because how many times have you seen videos where people use Oggok and you might not have him and you might be like, oh, come on, Oggok team again? Yes, Oggok is that good and you definitely want him for your account. But this team kind of like, you know, gets me some decent damage. Currently, I'm not surviving all the way. Again, I'm not testing a ton. I'm not tweaking everything. It's just kind of like, you know, showing you the fact that Ice Blast is kind of like the main team. I know this is kind of like day 2 of or like day 3 of the server, but day 2 of when the Vortex is gonna settle for damage. I used a different team in the first day. Just kind of swap things around because of the, you know, because of the gear that I got. So this one kind of like got me. I'm not gonna, you know, go all the way because it's what, 55, or am I doing more damage? I don't know, but pretty much I just want to show the team. I'm gonna also show you the timings. I'm gonna put the code to this team in the description of the video, even though again, maybe a lot of people don't have Reytah. It's still a work in progress. Lots of things might change, but for now, this is what I used. However, the team that I used yesterday, which again, that team might come back around, or I might be using it in the future. The team that I used was one with Ardreth and with Synarell. The reality is, Synarell is such a beast that, you know, he can kind of come in every single team. Now, again, maybe this one actually does better. I've not tested the other team and swapping the gear and whatnot, but for now, this is what I used. I'm going to show you, obviously, as soon as the fight ends, which I should be getting close to dying. I'm going to show you the other team. I'm going to show you the presets. Ardreth is really good for most situations because of her amazing passive that gives, you know, once it hits 10 stacks, it gives 30% more defense to all your allies, resist, you know, she's just amazing. I think that actually maybe having Ardreth in the team might make more sense, because if you bring Ardreth, you would have that passive, and currently, because you only need 50 resist, I think, to resist the defense penalty, because she gives 100, you might be able to go to the other phase where the boss does AoE damage, which might be less damage than the single target it currently does in this phase. So that might be better, because you might be able to just resist the defense penalty. But pretty much 62 million, I think that's the best I did, or I actually did more. No, I did 69 million, I think it was the same team. But let me show you my other team suggestion that you can work. Obviously, you can always go and look in the rankings, but the other team, like I mentioned, was this one, right? Pretty much same principle, just had Synarell and Ardreth. But for this team, let me show you the timings, because they're important. Currently, because like I said, I don't have Elosia or anybody in a Puppeteer set in this team, they go on the 22nd. So I had 11.8 on Zorak, 12 Sheena, 13.5 for Beldel. Once you get the Puppeteer, keep the first cast the same, and then just swap these to 18. Now, when it comes to the support ultimates, I kind of did a little bit of a quirky thing, in a sense of like, I'm trying to alternate the way that they do their ultimates. So we either try to have immortality, or we either try and have defense up. You're only gonna have like a 5-second window where you don't have either immortality or defense up, and that's, well, you know, in between the Oggok's immortality. Because of that reason, I kind of like gave Reytah 13-second initial, then every 20-second, and then Oggok 23. So as soon as defense penalty finishes from Reytah, Oggok pops his ult. Then the 5 seconds after his ult is over is where we are a little bit vulnerable. The cool thing is both Oggok and Reytah bring defense penalty. Oh yeah, forgot to mention, Reytah also extends the duration of debuffs by 5 seconds. Mind-blowing, right? It's just amazing. So the way that you would set her, and the way that I set it, is make sure that happens at least up until you go on an 18-second rotation. While you're still at 20, make sure that happens after you land the defense penalty, right? So 12 is when Sheena goes. Hopefully in that 1 second, she gets the chance to land defense penalty, or just to be safe, I can just make it 14 and then make Oggok go 24. So that when she does this, she extends the defense penalty as well, and it's on for as long as possible. Now, when it comes to builds, there's no point me going, you know, really hard onto the builds, because it's day one. It's whatever gear you have, right? That's kind of the situation. Whatever gear you have, but I guess let me just show the artifacts, because for gear, damage for Beldel, of course, if you have an exclusive artifact, which I don't go with that. I don't, so I have Brooms of Prina. Then Sheena, obviously, which is Remains. Again, whatever set, if you can give her a Serious Whisper, go with that, so you can give more damage to Beldel. Then the one set that, you know, might be completely unrelatable if you didn't do it like I did, but Brotherhood Spirit set went on my Oggok, and then he also has the Horn, and I gave him the Sacristy chest to, you know, just make sure he lands the debuffs. If honestly, if I had an Enlightenment chest, that's a legendary one, or like preferably Enlightenment with accuracy, that's what I would do, so that he does bigger healings, because as you saw, he doesn't do that big healings at this point. Then who else? Zorak. Zorak's kind of running down Organ Pipe just to give more attack, honestly, to everybody, because what's gonna help is this attack that he gives to everyone increases the damage, but also for Oggok, it increases the healing, because Oggok's healing scales off of attack and Enlightenment. So, you know, it's gonna be kind of a win-win. And then when it comes to Reytah, Golden Antlers. Honestly, I feel like this new artifact of this season, you're going to see in absolutely every single team, at least at the beginning, right? This one just straight up makes the boss takes damage and makes your team, you know, randomly get more healing as well. So this is going to be really powerful. Apart from that, I just give her as much skill haste as possible, so she can do her battle skill as often as possible to keep landing that defense penalty, right? It pretty much, the way it looks is like she's always going to have defense penalty, because deals damage, and then lands attack penalty, then after a short pause, deals damage again, and then lands attack penalty again. So you're gonna have attack penalty on all the time. But what do you think about this new Temporal Vortex? What's his name, Dahwan? Or did he have another name as well? Let's see, yeah, Dahwan. What do you think about it? I personally love it. It's really different, it's really quirky. I always love to have different types of content, different things, different challenges, and you know what? This different Temporal Vortex definitely brings that into the game, and I'm enjoying it a lot so far. But anyway, we're gonna leave it at this for now. Thank you for watching. As always, if you do enjoy my content, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel to see when I upload next, and gonna see you on the next one. Peace, love, take care, everyone. Bye, guys.